Hello everyone, welcome back to another weekly reading vlog. So it is Monday and it is 4 o'clock now, but I edited last week's reading vlog and got that ready to go. And then I finally finished A Darker Shade of Magic. If you watched last week's vlog, you know I was rereading this. It's one of my favorite series. This was my Bookoplathon pick for light cover. So A Darker Shade of Magic follows Kel Antari. I don't really know how it's pronounced. There are parallel Londons. So there is Grey London, which is the London like in our world, but this is set in like the 1800s. So then there is Red London, which is the London that Kel is from. White London, which is a London that has kind of become corrupted by magic. And then Black London, which is completely dead because it became like completely corrupted by magic. So White London's dying, and then Red London's doing pretty well for itself, and then Grey London obviously has none. He is one of the only people who can make doors between each world, and he is basically a messenger between like the kings and queens and all that. And he also has a side business smuggling some trinkets and stuff into the different Londons, and that is very not allowed, and he accidentally smuggles the wrong thing and bad things start happening. This is definitely 5 stars, no doubt about it. I'm trying to become a more critical reader, but it's so hard for me to be critical of like this book because it's kind of a book that I read at the right time, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not saying that there isn't flaws with it or that it's like a completely perfect book. I know it's not. I know a perfect book doesn't exist, but it's kind of one that I wouldn't look at negative. I'd go and like search for negative reviews on it. Loads of books on my shelves that even though I've given them 5 stars, like I could read a negative review and be like, yeah, I can see why people wouldn't like that. And again, I'm not saying that I don't believe you if you don't like this, because it is understandable, but I just wouldn't read it. It's like this, Radio Silence, and The Infernal Devices. They're just books that I read at like the right time in my life, and they just like mean a lot to me, and so they're kind of like comfort reads. So I really don't care what you think of them. They just speak to my soul, I guess. Like, I don't know how to say something bad about them, because even if they're not perfect, they're so perfect to me. I adore the characters in here. As I said, I said in last week, I didn't really love Delilah in this book, but by the end I did love her. Like, she goes through so much growth in just this book, and as well as in all of the other ones as well, and she has me laughing like all of the time. I just love Kel. I love Kel and Rye's relationships, like that brotherly relationship. So cute. As I said on my Instagram yesterday, find someone who looks at you the way I look at A Darker Shade of Magic, because I love it. I've like started like kind of a reading journal, and on all of the books, whether I give it 3 stars or 2 stars or like 5 stars, I always write some pros and I write some cons. But for this, honestly, I can't even think, like, even like the pros I can't form like good thoughts on, because like I just love it. Okay. So not a single thought to be had. And now we are going to be, well, not now, I'm gonna probably do it after dinner, but we will be starting Crescent City by, well, no, it's House of Earth and Blood, isn't it? But I'm pretty sure it's House of Earth and Blood, and just the series is Crescent City. I will be reading that. I think we're supposed to be reading like 150 pages per day, which I'm not even sure will I manage that. But that's all for now. This was very ranty, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to cut out like half of what I have said in the past like 10 minutes. Okay, so it's later on, and I'm currently, I don't know, probably about 30 pages into Crescent City. I'm really not that far in, but yeah, I really can't tell you much of what's happening. I am intrigued, and I'm interested in the world, and I'm hoping this book will like focus on family relationships and friendships. Because there's been like hints of it. Like I know one thing that's coming soon, but I'm hoping that she doesn't just like kind of throw all of like family relationships and friendships and all of that out the door with that one event and then just focus on romantic relationships, because I love friendship in books and I'm enjoying that aspect so far, and I'm liking the characters so far anyway. But as I said, 30 pages isn't a lot to go on. But I don't know what the actual plot of this book is, but I'm presuming it's gonna have something to do with this guy that's getting released from jail, prison, whatever. But I'm on chapter 3, so I don't think this can count as a spoiler, but he's getting released from prison because of a paperwork error when he's a literal terrorist. I'm like, your justice system needs some serious reform if some bad paperwork can get a terrorist who was caught in the act set free from prison. It's so dumb. I can't get over that. Anyway, that's all for now. Hello everyone. So it is Tuesday. So I read about 145 pages of Crescent City yesterday and I'm enjoying it. So that's good. At this point, I can already say it's not going to be a 1-star book, definitely. I can't see it going that badly, but I can also see that it's not going to be a 5-star book. So it could be anywhere. It could fall anywhere in between. But it has me interested, which is like the first step. The dude getting out of prison was really stupid to me, so like it's just not well thought out in that regard. But I'm interested. I think we're getting into like the plot starting. So there's a couple of things that I'm like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. My big problem with Sarah J. Maas is that I just don't like her writing style. It very much kind of reminds me of J. Kristoff. I don't like either of their writing styles because they're very over the top, I think, in my opinion. They over describe details that really don't matter, and it just ends up I want to skim a load of it because of the fact she has just these huge paragraphs just describing this one thing, and it's like you could just do a line or two and then move on. The two of them do that, and it's something that really annoys me. I find it really like over the top and like obnoxious sometimes. That's more J. Kristoff than hers, but hers can kind of lean towards that way sometimes. But the plot and the characters seem pretty okay so far. And also, like, Sarah J. Maas, she has given me a nugget of like family relationships and friendships, and I'm like, come on, you can do this, you can develop them, you can give me good family and friendships, please. I don't think she does that in Throne of Glass really. Like, there's not really like parents in that story, or is there siblings? I don't think there's any like sibling relationships in there. They're like the cousins, but I don't even think they're that well developed, to be honest. I'm like, come on, give me sibling, give me parent. I'm like, please. And then also friendships. I don't think the friendships were that well developed in Throne of Glass. They were kind of just thrown in there and they weren't really talked or touched upon. They were just put to the back in favor of the romance, which is fine. It just felt like she didn't want it to seem like there was no friendship, so she was like, oh, these people are really good friends, and then like didn't show it. We've already met the love interest, and I'm like, it's probably not gonna happen. He's probably gonna be the most important part. I knew that the love interest is called Hunt, but there was this line where it didn't actually mention his name. It just mentioned that, you know, he was so scary and, you know, badass and whatever, and I was like, that's him, isn't it? And I was like, oh my god. I'm like, I know, I just knew. Yeah, she's not so subtle with the who's gonna be the romantic interest, is she? The characters, none of them are extremely like standout characters to me so far, but again, early days, but I did have to laugh because my cousin, she is a Sarah J. Maas fan, and she told me, she was like, oh, I think you actually might enjoy this book compared to like Throne of Glass, and she was like, there's one like background character that she's like, I can see you liking, and I was like, okay. And then yesterday I texted her and I was like, who was the background character you said I like? And then she said Bryce's boss. I actually don't know how to pronounce her name, Jessica. And I was like, nope. Okay, I was just like, yep, she knows me so well, because like literally the first line I mentioned her, I was like, she seems cool. Also, the other thing is there's an event that happens probably about 100 pages in, and it's actually in the synopsis. It shouldn't be in the synopsis because it really could have been like an impactful moment, but because I knew it was happening, just didn't have any kind of reaction to it. Also, like this book, there's bits that I was actually laughing at, so that's good. And then the last thing I'm gonna just say is there was some bits that I found really ironic in the text, where it was like talking about Bryce's mom, and she was like, she was 19 when she got pregnant with Bryce, and she was like, this old fairy dude who was super possessive and all this stuff just, you know, seduced her. And I'm like, she's framing obviously Bryce's dad as like a really bad person for like basically manipulating this young woman. And it's like, Farah, I'm not sure, did she do those on purpose, or did she really not notice that she was basically pointing out flaws in her own works? So I'm getting my eyes tested today, which is fun. So I've had glasses twice. I had them when I was around 5 to when I was 8, because I had like a bit of a lazy eye, and it righted itself despite the fact that I like never wore the glasses. Though I remember wearing them, my mom says I never did, but I thought I did. And then I got them 4 or 5 years ago again because I was getting headaches, but like my eyesight was actually pretty good, but they were just like, oh, maybe it's just that's what's causing the headache, so they gave them to me, even though they were like, usually we wouldn't because they're like not that strong a prescription. And I ended up like never wearing them because I sat close to the board and the headaches went away by themselves. So I was like, okay, it wasn't the eyesight that was causing them. I noticed like, it was probably like 2 years ago now. No, probably a year ago. It was over a year ago anyway. That like when I close my right eye, it's really blurry. And that's not good. Like my left eye is really good, but my right eye, not so much. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I need glasses. That's all for now though. This is the last book of the White Book set. Is that the same length as the other one? I'm still mad about the cover change. I mean, at least it's kind of a similar color, like the bluish. I like the red text on it. But they're 2 different sizes, like barely. It's like a tiny bit higher. What? Today's Wednesday. So, I got the last book of the White. Oh yeah, I didn't update you at all yesterday, so I am getting glasses. I knew that was gonna happen. Yeah, so basically my left eye is near perfect and my right eye is not. And then I read about 50 more pages in Crescent City, and yeah, I didn't enjoy those for the like next 50 as much as I had been enjoying it. You know what? I thought she had like turned a corner. I was like so proud. There was no purring and, you know, those words that she always constantly uses. And now there is. Everyone is purring. Everyone is an alpha hole. Different words exist. Anyway, so I haven't read anything else today. Because I was in my nanny's and I was painting door frames. But I'll read more Crescent City this evening. Or I might start the last book of the White. I'm kind of nervous for that though. Also kind of excited because I really enjoyed The Red Scrolls of Magic, but I haven't really enjoyed a lot of her other recent books. So not much has happened in the 50 pages that I read. I'm now a quarter of the way through it, so I'm really hoping it's going to start picking up, but I kind of just find the plot kind of stupid. So obviously I mentioned the whole getting out of jail because of a loophole, because of paperwork error, and then I just don't understand why they would put a girl with no experience in like law enforcement or investigating in like be one of the like lead investigators in this huge thing. I'll try and keep it vague. Basically, she does something that literally any like detective or investigator would do like first, and they don't think of doing that, and it makes no sense. That's all for now though. I don't think I have anything else to say. I'm very boring. Hello, so I'm reading in Crescent City, which you already know. But Bryce is now becoming insufferable. She is literally just Selena. And I don't really like her. For the first maybe 150, I'll say, she was okay. I didn't love her, but I definitely didn't hate her. She was kind of just an okay character, had potential, and then she's just becoming more and more like Selena, and I find that very insufferable. But Hunt, I'm enjoying so far, but I've heard that he's basically a knockoff of her other characters as well, so we'll see. But at the moment, he's not too, like, territorial, I guess, because that really annoys me, and that's a thing that Sarah J. Maas really likes. Listen, if you like that, good for you, but I don't. But he doesn't seem that way yet, but no romance has actually happened. I really thought that this might be better, and no, it's just the same old Sarah J. Maas, and I don't want that. But I'll keep going. Power through. So it is 3:30 on Thursday. So I'm currently just like watching stuff on my iPad, and I'm also might be working on a TBR game. I'm not sure will I actually end up doing it because I'm still trying to figure out how it would work, but it's a possibility. I'm really not enjoying Crescent City as much anymore. There was 2 lines in the section I read yesterday that really rubbed me the wrong way. I'm trying to think of a way to say it without spoiling it, but someone is still grieving a loss of a friend 2 years after it happens, and another character immediately presumes that they were like in love or something, because you can only grieve and feel that much for losing someone like a romantic partner, not just a friend, and that really rubbed me the wrong way. Yeah, I think that just really says a lot about Sarah J. Maas and all of her books, that she does think romance is more important than the friendships in her books and stuff like that. Yeah, the other bit was trying to find a way to say it without spoiling. So a character, he is like basically a slave, and he's been offered a bargain of not having to be a slave if he solves it. And then another person who is investigating it basically gives out that his motivation for solving it is very selfish. And I'm like, that's, oh, yeah. Yeah, those like 2 bits just really sat wrong with me. I might try and read a small bit of The Lost Book of the White. I've been hearing pretty bad reviews about this one, so that makes me very nervous. But as I said, I haven't really liked a lot of her most recent ones, so maybe everyone who's been enjoying her more recent ones are hating this, and I will enjoy it. But it's not very encouraging to see everyone not particularly enjoy it. Is it weird that I dislike the 2 characters, but I don't hate the romance? Like, does that make sense? I mean, I don't hate Hunt. I'm kind of meh on him. I don't like Bryce, but I am intrigued about the relationship between them, so we'll see. What day is it? It's Friday. So I'm currently reading The Lost Book of the Wife. I am 63 pages in, which is to chapter 4. Not much. It's a pretty short book, which thankfully, because I'm not gonna lie, all of her recent books are so big and I don't enjoy them as much. I am having so much fun. I already really love this book, and it's definitely because it's with the characters that I already am so attached to. This one, it takes place after the end of the Mortal Instruments but before the Dark Artifices. So this, obviously, it takes place after the Mortal Instruments, so, and also the short story collection Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy also ties into this a little. Like, they just kind of mention stuff that happens in that. Magnus and Alec are just, you know, living their life together, and then one day their apartment gets broken into and the Book of the White gets stolen. In like the struggle to get the book, Magnus gets stabbed by this weird magical weapon that they've never heard of before, and kind of they all just, you know, drop everything to try and go find this magic book and sort everything out. And but they, of course, they have backup from the Mortal Instruments gang, which is really nice to see them all together again. When I initially heard about this, I was kind of a bit nervous about the fact that it, even though it's a Magnus and Alec book, the fact that the Mortal Instruments gang was going to be, like, I guess, main characters in it, because I was very nervous that they were going to be overshadowed, but I don't think that's happening. Obviously, it's still early days, but honestly, I just love it so much. Seeing all of them back together, I'm like, why was I nervous? And yeah, my poor boy Simon is just like going through it. It's so weird. I don't want to spoil like anyone for like Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, but at the same time, that's been out like 4 years now. But so, like, I guess if you haven't read it and are going to read it, skip. But at the same time, I think everyone knows what happens kind of between like Magnus and Alec and also Simon in that. But but if you haven't and have completely avoided spoilers for it, number one, good job. And number two, I guess don't listen to this next bit, because, or basically any time I'm talking about this, because it'll be spoiler territory for the entire Mortal Instruments series. So, in Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, Magnus and Alec, they adopt Max, who is a little blue warlock, and he's only like a year and a bit in this, and oh my god, they are so cute. Just like the little family unit they have going, I'm like, so cute. I actually can't. And like Magnus, iconic. Like, he never fails to make me laugh. He always has the best lines. And yeah, and also like Jace is also making me laugh and stuff. Simon not as much, because Simon's just going through a rough time. Again, I'm not going to spoil that bit of the Shadowhunter Academy, but if you know, you know. So it is quite weird for Simon to know what's going on. Like, they were talking about demons, so like Simon was just like the little like nerdy schoolboy he is, was just rattling off facts he had learned. And I was like, that's so weird. Like, he actually knows what's happening. So, you know, I love him. I love them all so much. That's all I have to say on that. We have purple separated edges. I'm just over halfway through Crescent City, and yeah, I'm really not loving that anymore. So that's a shame. But again, only halfway, and I've heard the last 200 pages is where it really picks up. So it still has like a chance to like bring back some enjoyment, I guess. Because like it started like pretty average, I would say. Like maybe like it started at about a 3-star, and like it's kind of just gone down. And I'm like, it still has a load of time to go back up. So hopefully it will. I just really don't like Bryce as a character anymore. I don't mind Hunt, and I don't mind Rune. I don't know how to pronounce his name. The brother. Yeah, he's okay. There's this thing that Sarah J. Maas does, though, where she makes it obvious she's withholding information from you, and it really irritates me. And that's not just a Sarah J Maas thing. Loads of authors do that. I'm like, just tell me. Or like, don't mention that there's more to the story. You're like, oh, we had an argument. It all changed that one winter night. And then just like cut it off. Don't just tease at it. Just tell us the full story now. Don't tell it when it's like important to the story, important to the plot. It's a pet peeve of mine in books. The romance. I don't mind that. I'm not hating that at all. I'm actually quite enjoying bits of it. Bryce is really just Aelin, but she's allowed to say curse words. Anyway, that's all I can think about for now. I read like over 100 pages yesterday, and I can't remember a single thing that happened. Like, nothing important to the story happened in that 100 pages. That's all for now. Hello everyone, it's Sunday, so I didn't update you at all, but yesterday I didn't do much. I just read a small bit more of The Lost Book of the Way and a small bit more of House of Earth and Blood, with also Crescent City, whichever you want to call it. Anyway, so I just finished watching Toy Story 4 and there might have been tears, which I don't cry at books, at movies, at TV shows. I don't. For some reason, Toy Story 4 got me. It's given me a small bit of an existential crisis because I feel so old and I'm not. But yeah. So today I put on the Russian test skates for figure skating, which I love figure skating, which is a very weird fact about me because I can't figure skate. I can barely stand up on skates, but I love figure skating. So I was watching that because why not? Which they should not be doing skates in the middle of this world situation. And there was like no social distancing. And you just put that on. There was only like one or two that I was interested in watching because honestly most of the Russian skaters are not the biggest fan of. So there was a couple that I was like curious about and stuff. So I kind of just put it on nearly as background noise. Like they skate to music. So it's just like listening to music, and then every so often I just glanced up. I finished Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood, and I think I'm giving it 2 stars. I'm really conflicted about it, and honestly, I don't know what my thoughts are. Like, started pretty solid, and then it was just so boring, and then it got like interesting, and then I found the ending really stupid. So it was a bit of a wild ride, you know. Much of it was so boring, so like I can't give it a really high rating. There were things that I liked in it, but the things that I liked in it, I was only given like a nugget of. I was given the smallest sliver of that, and then things that I didn't like were much more important in the story, I guess. Like, I really didn't enjoy the plot, and there was so much in the middle that was so boring. So I didn't like Bryce. I was kind of neutral on Hunt, to be honest, and I was neutral on a lot of the characters. I didn't mind the romance in it. It was like 500 pages that were so boring. Like, yes, the romance, like, that's like development of it, and like it wasn't like came out of nowhere. Like, it was, I think it was developed nicely, but nothing else was happening. I feel like the whole plot wasn't moving, and I feel like it could have been cut down, but then maybe like the romance would have felt rushed. So I really don't know. I only got like a glimpse of like sibling relationships, and I only got a glimpse of like friendships, and like I wanted more of them, and like what I saw of them I liked, but I didn't see enough, and I don't know, will I pick up the sequel? See, the problem with sequels is obviously people who didn't like the first book are less inclined to pick up the second, and then obviously people who are Sarah J Maas fans are going to be biased, which is perfectly fine. Like, I'm biased towards Cassandra, Clare, but like reading The Lost Book of the White, I am immediately just yes, because nostalgia connected to these characters and stuff. So I can't like trust all their 5-star reviews because they probably also gave 5 stars or 4 stars or whatever to the first book. A lot of negative reviews I can't trust because a lot of people go into Sarah J. Maas books just to look at the faults in it and to laugh at it and whatever, which is also fine, because if you find enjoyment in like trashing a book, that's fine, because books is just about enjoying it, and so if you actually enjoy doing that, then it's okay. But again, they're looking for the bad, so it's also biased, and I'm not saying this is unbiased, that it is a 2-star book, because there's no such thing as objective book rating. When Sarah J. Maas, it's like either love her or hate her, which I suppose I would lean more on the dislike side, but I wouldn't say that I'm like anti Sarah J. Maas, because as I said, there was bits of this book that I did enjoy. Basically, I don't know whether I'll pick up the sequel. Anyway, so I think we will just wrap this up now. So this week I finished A Darker Shade of Magic by V. Schwab. I gave that a 5 out of 5 stars. It was a reread, and it is a reread of a favourite, and I love it. I adore it so much. And then I also read The Beast, that is House of Earth and Blood, Crescent City #1 by Sarah J. Maas, and I think I'm giving it a 2 out of 5 stars. Still not 100% sure on that. I'm still kind of trying to like think the thoughts. I suppose you will know by the time I do a wrap up. Then I also made a start on The Lost Book of the White. I'm currently like 160 pages in. Yeah, so I'm currently 164 pages in. I might read a small bit more before the night is out, but probably not. So thank you guys so much for watching this vlog. I do hope you enjoyed this awkward attempt at a video. If you did, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.